You are listening to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitzgerald, also known as Lauren Fitz. I'm a medical doctor, a fitness instructor, an entrepreneur, a health and fitness coach, but most importantly, I am a lover of life. And here on the Fitz and Healthy podcast, I intend to give you a ton of great information and knowledge that will serve as potential power so that you can live a life by design and make it more fits and healthy. And don't forget to listen to the disclaimer at the end. I'm not your doctor, yo. All right, enjoy the episode. Much love. Ciao. Hello and welcome to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitz, and today I'm joined by not only my beautiful co-host, Cinthanie from Cinthanie.com. What's up, girl?
Hey, girl, hey.
But we can't skip that. You know that, right?
Never.
But we are joined by our special guest, your soon-to-be husband. Oh, that's crazy, right? Yeah. Mr. Tanner McAllister. What's up, dude?
Not much. How's it going?
Awesome. We are super excited to have you here. And of course, we're recording this episode a little bit in advance of your wedding, but it's going to actually be released the week of your wedding. And this is a perfect episode so that we can talk about relationships. We can talk about your relationship specifically, and people get to know Cinthanie on a deeper level. And of course, they get to know you because Tanner, you're not the social media guru like your soon-to-be wife is.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I feel like he's very elusive to people because like they hear about him, but they don't see him because he's not really on social media. Like if you go look at his Instagram, like the last thing he posts was like,
I get a notification on my phone. It's like, last time you posted was 32 weeks ago. It's
it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
That's awesome. So before we get talking about your relationship and relationships in general, we have to do iTunes review of the week. Sorry, I think I'm still flustered because yesterday was a big day.
Yeah.
For the listeners, of course, this is going to be released, so most listeners will have already heard me on Facebook talk about this. But yesterday, I went to this event where Shawn Stevenson from the Model Health Show was the main celebrity guest, and I drove down to San Diego, and not only did I get to meet him, but he basically gave awesome advice about how to be the best at interviewing a real celebrity like Mark Sisson, which by the time that people are listening to this, they will have already heard the Mark Sisson episode. Yeah. But he offered to be my second celebrity guest to interview, which those podcast virgins that you popped your cherry with Fitz and Healthy podcast, you might not understand what a big deal it is. But the Model Health Show is, if not number one, it's always in my top 3 favorite, but it's usually my number one. It's usually one of those podcasts that I listen to every week when he drops his episode. And he's just a great dude. And he was just as humble and down to earth in person as I felt that he would probably be. And like, for instance, the first question for Q&A that he had, this 23-year-old, about your age, she introduced herself and she was like, she said her name. He goes, "Oh yeah, at so-and-so on IG." Like he knows his fans. It's crazy, which it's not crazy because I try my best to know all the people that follow me. Yeah. But it's refreshing because he could easily have this huge head because he's super successful. And it all started with his podcast. So for him to offer to be the next major celebrity guest on our podcast is like huge. So
like when you text me that, I was like, our podcast is my own podcast goals right now. Like,
I mean, for real. We have been up and running for a little over 3 months, and big things are happening. And I made a post about it, saying the universe is super abundant and I'm just extremely grateful for all of the abundance that keeps coming my way and our way. And so before we start, I want to talk about the iTunes review of the week because we appreciate everyone taking the time. iTunes doesn't make it easy to go and leave a review. So everyone that has taken the time to go and subscribe, download the episodes and leave an actual review, we can't thank you enough. And that's partially the reason why Mark Sisson's people reached out to us, because we have so many reviews in such a short amount of time. And that's why his people reached out to me saying, would you like to interview him? I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah.
Speaking of abundance.
I know, right? So, okay.
We always say thank you to you guys, but I don't think you guys realize it's not just like we want words of affirmation. Those reviews allow us a platform to be able to bring you more content from people like Mark Sisson and Sean Stevenson. And so
that's just the beginning.
And it's only been 3 months.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what else happens.
Heck yeah.
But this is a really awesome review. It's from Sonia A.L. and it says, Truth and Wisdom. Lauren and Cinthanie, i.e. Truth and Wisdom. Your podcasts are truly informative and thought-provoking. I've been binge listening and I'm seriously hooked. Please know that your words, your message, and your work here is invaluable. Thank you both for bringing genuine sincerity and love back to the world. I'm grateful that my time has been spent wisely listening to the voice of reason. Lauren, your motivation has touched me deep within my soul. How could you not? Thank you for sharing your truth and leading by example. I can only hope to lead as many as I can with your wise, life worth living message. And Cinthanie, girl, you rock, young and powerful. I'll be faithfully listening for sure. Much love.
Oh my gosh, that was such a good review. I totally have chills.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Oh, thank you, Sonia, so much for, not only taking the time, but that was a freaking awesome review.
Yeah,
so
such an awesome review.
Okay. So yeah. So obviously we are in an abundant state, and you are definitely in an abundant state because you've got such an amazing man at your side.
Mm-hmm. Literally at my side.
Literally at your side. You guys, Cinthanie is in her podcast studio, i.e. her closet. And they are literally on top of each other right now. But you know what? Yeah. But we have podcasting goals to have podcast studios in that are beyond the closet.
Mm-hmm.
Someday
I'll come out.
Exactly. Okay. So Tanner, tell me, do you remember the very first time that you ever saw Cinthanie?
Yeah, it's a real weird story.
Yes.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine come over and he had this girl in the car, and lo and behold, it was Cinthanie, and he was like trying to impress her and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. So I was like, kind of weird. Dude comes over to my house trying to impress a girl. But yeah, he was over with her for a little bit. And then I think it was 2 years after that, we started hanging out and stuff and really getting to know each other. And then relationship bloomed and it went from there. So
what took 2 years? I'm just curious. I'm just going to put you on the spot right away.
It was maybe like a year.
No, it was longer than that.
No.
Yeah.
I hadn't lived here that long. I was a junior in high school when I met you and we started dating my senior year. So it was about a year later.
And you're how many years older?
I'm a year older, almost exactly.
Okay.
I'm January 9th and he's January 13th.
Okay. Oh, we're all January birthdays. What?
Yeah.
Okay. So why didn't you just automatically go for the gold that first time you saw her? Because obviously, she's a beautiful girl. Come on.
Yeah. It was.
Stop it.
She'd hang out with me and my group of guys, and my dad pulled all of us guys aside one day and was like, hey, obviously she likes one of you because all y'all do is talk about cars and go to car stuff. So she's like, you got to figure it out. He's like, obviously she likes one of you guys. And so
his dad figured it out before any of them did.
Of course.
Homegirl doesn't care about cars.
I love your dad for that reason. He says it the way it is. So when you figured out, like, okay, I'm going for it.
Tell her how you figured out I was into you, though, that it was you.
Okay, well, we were, like I said, it was weird because, we hang out as a group and stuff, and she'd always, like, kind of stick by me and stuff. And I'm like, oh, she just must be really nice. I don't know.
You're making me sound like a clinger.
No, it was cute. Now I think about it, like back then I was like, this girl's kind of crazy. Everywhere and stuff.
That's awesome.
And then, I guess how it blossomed into the relationship is I was trying to teach her to drive a stick, and we used to go to a golf course after it closed and just go play on the golf course like late at night and stuff. So I was teaching her to drive a stick, and she got it down real good and was driving me around. And friends were meeting us up there because we were going to go play golf. And so she leaned over and kissed me, and I was like, oh, I was like super shell shocked. And even after I got out, I was like, what was that for?
He still like didn't get it.
Yeah,
He
I-
still
No way.
got out of the car and looks at me and he goes, well, what was that for? And I like for months had been trying to like drop hints. Like he said, like I would always sit by him when we'd be somewhere. Like I would always like text him and ask what the plans
I
were.
was
Like
super confused.
homegirl was trying. But he just is so oblivious to cues. So it literally took me kissing him for him to be like,
Yeah.
oh, you like me.
Even
So-
then, wait a minute.
He still
So was it, did you just think like there's no way that she could actually want me more than just a friend? Or was it just like you're just a typical dude and all you think about is cars and
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of both. I always thought about cars and stuff. There's always a couple girls that hung out with us and stuff. And so I never really, it never really passed my mind like, oh, maybe she's trying to seek me out or something like that. So,
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. It's just-
Okay, so they've heard, the audience who has listened to more than one episode knows kind of what your association with cars is, but let everyone know briefly what you do. And I mean, your passion for cars started early, right?
Yeah. I remember being like, oh, man, I'll say maybe 2 or 3. And my dad would work on his Jeep. He had a big lifted Jeep, and he put me in one of those little kangaroo pouches in the front. I just sit there and stare at what he was doing and everything like that. And so from that point on, I was like, oh, cars are the thing. So had me help him out. He's not real good at technology stuff, so I'll help him if he's stuck on something like that. And so
Right.
yeah, so I've always really been affiliated with it. And then this past year, I've decided I really want to go to school and make it a profession and everything like that. I've always tinkered on stuff. So yeah, going into school there. I work at BMW as a mechanic now, and that's a lot of fun. And I told Cinthanie, like, what was it, a week ago? I was like, I don't want to work on stuff. I want to make stuff stupid fast.
You,
And
yeah,
so-
you said I don't want to
Yeah.
fix stuff. I don't want to fix cars. I want to work on
Yeah.
cars.
And so I applied to this really rare opportunity of a school down in Texas that
Yeah.
makes cars stupid fast. And so luckily Friday I got accepted. So
No way.
They only take 25 students, and he
Yeah.
got
Holy
accepted.
bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised at all. Way to go. Congratulations. I had no idea. That's
We
huge.
just found out this week,
yeah,
but
so I'm super
yeah.
excited.
So does that mean that y'all are going to stay there? Or do you have to move for the school or?
So we're gonna be living apart
Yeah.
while he does that.
Yeah, it won't be
Oh,
too bad. It's only 3 months.
okay.
it's
Oh,
in
that's
the state of Texas. So I mean,
okay.
the only bad thing about Texas, you drive 7 hours and you're still in Texas.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
yeah,
Tell
so-
me about it. Tell me about it.
It's a little bit east of Houston. It's only maybe a 3-hour drive. So I
Okay.
can still come
Like,
up on the
it's
weekends and stuff
doable.
like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And we've lived apart before, like earlier in our relationship when we decided together to move to Seattle after high school. He actually went ahead of me. I told him, I was like, if you really want to live in Seattle, like you go there, like get a job, make sure that's where you want to be, and then I'll come out there. So we spent about 3 months apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before.
Why Seattle? I'm just curious.
We literally just
Yeah, I literally sat her down and was like, hey, I want to move to Seattle. I think it's our best move. And so we were like, let's do it. And so she was real skeptical.
Well, yeah.
Well, because like I had never lived with a boy before. I hadn't
Gotcha.
moved out of my
And we
parents'
were-
house before. Like it was like not only was I moving in with a boy, which my parents were like, no.
Yeah.
But we were moving across the country together. so-
Yeah. Yeah. Washington State's not too close to Texas.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was funny because we had actually gone to Spokane in the December before we moved to Seattle.
that
We'd gone to
Christmas and, like-
Spokane for Christmas because he
Okay.
had family there. And we had flown into Seattle and then drove up to Spokane. And we were in Seattle just briefly. I think we had like dinner there before we drove out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to live here. Like it was just so beautiful and so cool. And then a couple months later, we were tossing around the idea of moving. And he was like, do you really want to live in Seattle? I was like, sure. And like within a month, he had quit his job, packed up, and moved to Seattle.
No
like,
way.
When he makes a decision, he makes a decision. So
Dude.
like, yeah.
That's yes. Yes.
It was
That's
awesome.
one of the many reasons I like you, dude.
Yeah.
So y'all, you got to Seattle how many months before she got there?
Yeah, I was there for about 3 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 months. I told her, I said, let me find a place, let me, get everything situated and everything like that. I made her a bet too when we moved. She had a job as the orthodontist assistant, but she wouldn't finish school. She wouldn't finish her high school. And I'm like, you need to finish it before you move up. I'm like, you can't. I'm like, if you come up here and you're not finished, I'll buy you a plane ticket back home.
Nice.
I kind of gave her an ultimatum because I was like, yeah, because education's important. Like, you have no idea how important it is. And so,
Yeah.
Because I had gotten into the dental field at 16.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so I was like, I don't need high school. Like, I have a great job because I was doing school online because I was working full time.
Right.
Like, I don't need high school. Like, I don't need to finish it. And he was like, no, like you
Yeah,
need to
you need
finish it, and you can't come out here until you finish it.
I love it. I love it because, you know, one thing that's challenging when you have strong-willed women like yourself and myself, it can be challenging for the men in our lives to know when that you need to basically step up and put your foot down.
Yeah.
And because we're not the easiest people to deal with.
He smiles.
Yeah.
He smiles. He's like, I don't know how much.
He's like, can I talk about this? I mean, really?
Try not to sleep outside tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys
holds his own.
So at what age were you both when you first decided, okay, we're gonna make this, like, you're my boyfriend, I'm your girlfriend, and we're in a relationship?
It's kind of weird. Like, everybody says they have that talk with their significant other of like when they are like officially dating and stuff like that. And we never had that.
We never
talk.
had that.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened. Like, so that night that I kissed him, he was like, "What was that for?" And then
and what'd you say?
I was like, "Well, I like you." Boy, I'm trying to show you.
Duh.
So he dropped me off that night, and he kissed me goodnight, and he's kissed me goodnight every night since. And he was like, "Well, I want to take you on a date. Like, can I like take you out somewhere?" So
okay,
he took me to
first official date was
first official date. He took me to Starbucks.
Oh,
girl.
Right.
yeah.
And he got me a hot chocolate, and we went and walked around this park, and we just like walked and talked for a long time, and then we went back to his house, and I had met his parents before because we were friends before we started dating.
Right.
And, like, we went inside, and I think that was the only like transition part of our friendship was like meeting his parents as a date and not as a friend was really weird. Like super weird. And then his dad had this weird, like, old, what was it? Like an old military Jeep.
Yeah,
and Tanner was like, "Do you want to go on a ride?" Because cars are just
his thing.
his language. So
yeah.
that was our first date. And he actually proposed to me at the same park that we went on our first date at.
No way.
And then on top of that, we're getting married in the same venue that we went to our high school prom at. So
you're kidding.
We have like the
I don't think I knew this
story.
She's level super high on that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It wasn't planned, it just kind of happened, but yeah.
So you guys have been together roughly what, 5 years? 6 years?
Almost 6 years.
Okay.
Almost 6 years.
Okay. All right. And so one challenge that that people have that are high school sweethearts is growing together. And obviously you guys aren't even halfway through your 20s.
Yeah.
But you've started the journey into your 20s, because the 20s is when you essentially figure out who you are.
Yeah.
Have you guys had any struggles since your 20s of that road and journey and doing it together?
Yeah, when we lived in Seattle, it was a really dark time in our relationship. It was really tough for us to not be together, but just we were both so busy, and we were both so confused because it's a new place for both of us and everything.
First
like
time
that.
either of us had lived on our own.
Yeah, so
it was just a lot of transition at once.
Yeah, and so believe it or not, we almost called it quits in Seattle.
Really?
Yeah, just broke up.
Yeah.
I told her I remember we were laying in bed, and I was like, I don't feel connected with you anymore. I was like,
that's rough.
I'll buy you a plane ticket back home, and you can hang out there for a little bit and see if this can work. But yeah, it was a real rough point.
Yeah.
How long were y'all in Seattle before you got to that point?
That was about 8 months.
Okay.
It was about 8 months in, and then we moved a year. So yeah, it was about 8 months in that we had lived there. And because like we went into it with these expectations, like the first time living with someone, and like we're going to this new place, like you think you're
almost like honeymoon year.
Like you think you're going to spend every minute together, and then you show up and you have bills and you have like like all the crazy work schedule, and like we actually only had 3 days off together the entire time we lived there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, because I was working Monday through Thursday in the medical field for orthodontics, And then he was working for Nissan as a car salesman. And his schedule was like 80 hours a week. He only had Tuesdays off, and I worked Tuesdays.
Yeah, even the days
So
off,
they'd still call him in on his days off.
Oh,
so it was just like,
Mm.
we went into it with so much expectations, and it was completely different from what we anticipated. And because
Right.
of that, I think that we were both dealing with it separately.
Yeah.
And so that's what distanced us in our relationship, not necessarily our love for each other.
Right.
But,
Of course.
But that's the only time that we've ever we've never had like a fight where we're like, we're going to break up. Like
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
never,
we've
like
never, yeah.
we work through everything.
Right.
That was the only time in our relationship that we were like,
contemplating or really thinking
like
about
trying
it,
to figure out like what was. And so ultimately, I think that's what led to us moving back to Texas,
Okay.
because we were like,
no, I was gonna say, yeah, we were the worst relationship wise we've ever been, worst shape we've ever been.
we both gained a ton of weight. Like it was such a good learning experience. Like I would do it all over again, because I think because of that, it made us learn to rely on each other, because we didn't have anybody else. We weren't with a bunch of family there. Like we didn't have mom and dad's house to go to or a friend's house to go to. Like we really only had each other. And so we learned to work together because of that.
Okay. So you guys were in Seattle for a total of how long?
About a year.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
A little over a year, I think.
No, it was right at a year.
Okay.
We moved home Christmas of 2014.
15.
Yes, 2014.
Yeah. Okay.
So we moved back to Texas 2014.
Okay.
Literally the week of Christmas, we drove across the country and moved back. And
so
then
you had this riff in your relationship about 8 months in. What happened?
8 months into moving. We had been dating for 2 years. When
Right. But 8 months into being in Seattle. So what actions changed it where it changed directions? Because obviously, I mean, moving anywhere, whether you're with someone or by yourself, I experienced that. It's a transitional, I'm pretty sure there's a DSM-4, a psychiatric disorder for transitional affective disorder. I have to remember back to like 15 years ago in med school, but I experienced it myself when I moved to Japan. That first 6 months, it was rough. And I mean, whether you're alone or with loved ones, it's not easy, and especially a new relationship. Not that y'all's relationship was new, but you'd never lived together. Yeah, and you were babies.
We were barely 19 and 20, weren't we?
Yeah.
Barely 19 and 20. So we were kids. Like, I mean, we still are, but we were just like in high school, of course, it's so easy to fall in love, because like your only responsibility is hang out with each other on the weekends. You know what I'm saying? So like, went from that to thinking, oh, we're going to live together and spend every minute together. And like, it was just so totally opposite of our expectations. But like I said, I wouldn't trade that. Like I've never regretted doing that.
No.
But the only thing that we regret is we both wish that like, we really want to go, once we're not so busy, we want to go back and like do all the stuff that we didn't do living there, because we were so busy and just not in the right mental space, you know?
Right.
So we plan to do that after he's done with school. We're going to go back to Seattle for a week and go do, because we haven't been back since we left. Yeah. So we want to go back and do all the stuff that we didn't have time to do when we were there.
So Tanner, what did you do after you had this conversation with her? What did you do to change the direction?
Well, when we were laying in bed, I told her, I said, we can either just call it quits and go from there, or we can try and make it work. And so we just a little bit every day, little things, as in, I come home, we both turn off our phones and just sit down, and just really talk about our day. And, and then I, go to my work and say, I need my day off. You guys can't contact me on my day off. Like find somebody else, or, work with what I'm trying to accomplish here. And so then we slowly started, we go on to parks and go on walks with each other and go to little shows and stuff like that. And so we really kind of tried to rekindle it at that point, and it helped out in the long run.
We basically started to like date each
Yeah,
other again, because
exactly.
we started living together and stopped dating, So it's a difference, there is. And so it was just like, I think serving each other really helped. Like I would just make him lunch, or like to take to just like little things that were, he would bring like $5 flowers home, like nothing big, but just like it just takes little things to just to reinvest in each other. And I said, I think that we were both able to identify that it wasn't each other that we were unhappy with, it was the situation that we were in. So we removed ourselves from that situation to save our relationship.
So what I'm hearing is you guys kind of learned that love isn't a feeling, it's an action. It's an action verb.
I hate the saying that love is enough, because it's not. Like, you have to be 150% in with someone. Like, it's not a 50-50. It's totally not like you give 50, I give 50. Like, you are 150% in and I'm 150% in. It's like, I hate that saying, because it's not enough. Like, you have to like nurture it and build it and care for it. Like, you have to work on it constantly. Like, you can't just be in love with someone and expect everything to work out. It's more
Right.
Yeah, I had a gentleman from work tell me, he's like, even when you're married, you gotta still think you're still dating. You're still dating, even when you're married.
That's such good advice.
You gotta take her on dates. You gotta woo her. You gotta impress her. You still gotta act like you're dating. And so
that's really good advice. I assume that he is happily married times many years.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he's been married for like 60 years or something.
Hashtag goals right there.
Right.
Marriage goals right there. So you guys moved back to Texas, and you've had the roughest, darkest time of your relationship. You moved back to Texas. And so from that point till now, at what point did you knew okay, she's the one, and what am I waiting for? I know age is something that a lot of people probably tried to get you to believe you're not ready for marriage, but at what point what got you to that point that you're like, okay, I'm ready for this?
I don't know. I like spending every day with her. I was, especially moving back when we were in a way better state and stuff like that. I really got to thinking, and we even had, what was it, November we had that talk?
So
yeah, well, so it's nothing.
So what happened was
embarrassing, but I don't want people to think that I gave you an ultimatum. That's what it sounds like. So we moved back December of 2014. We were living with his parents while we were looking for a house.
Okay.
So Tanner really wanted to start working on his own stuff, so he needed a shop space, and with us finding an apartment in Dallas and renting that, and also renting a shop space, it was like, we might as well buy a house.
Right.
So we found one that had a shop, and he actually signed the paperwork while I was at work. I hadn't even seen the house or anything. I was like, and at the time I was still working full time.
She came home and I could see the steam
I
coming out of her ears.
I was livid. Not because he made the decision without me necessarily, but because of the location of the house.
Okay.
I had never seen it. So it starts to go into what's the word I'm looking for? Escrow. So the house starts to go into escrow. We're buying the house, and I've never seen it or stepped foot in it.
Right.
So he takes me to the house, and it was an 1.5-hour commute from my work.
Oh, hell.
And I was just so livid. I was walking around the house, and he wouldn't let me go in the guest or in the master bedroom. He was like, no, I'm going to show you that last. I'll show you that last. Because he's smart, and the closet was his selling point. Because we have this massive closet. It's like a big horseshoe that wraps around our it's a massive closet.
Yeah.
And so that was
like
the
a
last
girl's dream.
Yes. And so that was the last thing that he showed me in the house to be ended on a good, he's smart.
Yeah. Yep.
But it was definitely motivation for me to be okay, I need to be able to work for myself. Cause that 1.5-hour commute was just, but moving to Seattle and getting in that dark place, I feel it kind of put us where we are now, though, because we were both really overweight coming home because we were super stressed. So we gained a ton of weight. Which is
crazy because, well, I haven't seen your parents, but I've seen your parents, Tanner, and your parents are super in shape. I mean, they're hashtag goals for everyone in their 40s.
Yeah, right. But so when we came back, that's really when I fell in love with fitness too. And when I started coaching, because I fell in love with fitness through my own journey. So it's so weird how it all because we've never really sat here and outlined this, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's just weird how it all has worked out. But so when we've been in this house for 2 years, almost 3.
Yeah, going on 3.
So in November 2016, so we got this house in February of 2015 is when we moved in.
Okay.
November 2016. So at this point we'd been together for almost 5 years. It was 4 3/4 of a year by this time. And we sat down and had a conversation. So I said,
it was not an ultimatum, for the record.
It was not an ultimatum. I was actually telling this story last night at your dad's birthday party, and somebody was like, so you told him you were going to leave him? I'm like, no, that's not what I did. So we sat down the day before Thanksgiving of 2016. So this was last Thanksgiving. And I just was like, I love being your living girlfriend and all, but like, we need to like, I just need to know where you're at. Like, where are we headed? You know, because like, you need to know if you're wasting your time or not. And we had basically built a life together without being married. Like, we bought a house, we made a couple moves. Like, I started a business, he started a bit. Like, we bought a car, we bought a dog. Like, we were a family and
might as well be married.
A couple without being married. Yeah, I'm like, at least give us a tax break. Like, it's at least
right for real.
So, no, but I sat him down and was just kind of like, you know, like, I just need to know where you're at, or like if marriage is something close in the future. And so like we just kind of sat and like, what are your life goals? What's my life goals? And they matched up and they made sense. And so we were like, okay, like we'll get married.
Did that freak you out, Tanner?
No, not at all. I mean, because I told her, I'm like, if you want to travel the world and save sea turtles or whatever, that's cool. You know, that can be your thing. But you know, maybe it's not something I'm into. Or I mean,
you just have to make sure that your goals align with each other, because you're building a life together. And so you have to make sure that you're headed in the same direction together.
Right.
So,
well, especially, you know, living together for so long, it's like, okay, are we on the same page? Or
yeah,
I mean, I already knew I loved her and everything, but I didn't know if, okay, are we soulmates? Are we spending, because I always told her too, I said the first person I'm marrying is the last. I'm like, that's it. So,
that's the way to do it. I didn't do it that way, but you're doing it the right way.
No, so we had that conversation the day before Thanksgiving, right?
Okay.
And then the Friday after Thanksgiving, Tanner was gone all day. And I didn't really like think anything of it. He was like running errands and stuff like that. And I called him. I'm like, where are you at? And he was like, I'm driving. Like he kind of like, I didn't think anything of it though. I really didn't. And the next day he proposed to me. Like I said, girl, when he makes a decision, he makes a decision. But he, when I called him, he was at my parents' house asking for their permission. And so, yeah. So he was like, he was like, I almost told you like 4 times. And so, weren't you going to do it when we were in Cancun though?
Yeah, I was going to wait like a couple months, but then her little brothers were there, and you know, I showed her parents the ring and everything. I'm like, oh, they're going to spill the beans. I got to do it fast. So,
yeah.
And Tanner, like, bless you, but you're horrible at surprises.
I know, terrible.
Like he wants, as soon as he gets my Christmas gifts, he's like, do you want to know what it is? Like a month before Christmas. I'm like, no, babe, like wait until Christmas. And he's like, just let me tell you, don't want to know, just let me tell you. Like he'll give it to me. Like I don't think we've ever opened presents on Christmas.
No way.
We always give each other presents before Christmas. Like we suck at it.
That's
but he just like, he's such a giver. And so he gets excited to give.
He's like his mama.
Yeah, he couldn't keep quiet about it. So he literally had the ring for like 24 hours.
That's awesome.
To me, so, yeah. But.
So before you guys had the talk that was not the ultimatum talk, but the talk.
I wasn't going to leave him. Like, I wasn't like, you need to marry me or I'm going to leave you. It was just like, I need to know where you're at and you need to know where I'm at. You know?
Yeah, the state of affairs. We'll call it the state of affairs talk.
Just don't business.
Exactly. So had you thought about marriage yet?
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, I thought for a while. I already knew I loved her and everything.
Right.
It's just I wanted to make sure our goals lined up and stuff like that.
Right.
We got, you know, my parents and her parents be like, oh, you guys seem to have kids and stuff already.
Yeah,
we're
like both of our parents were like, grandkids.
Like, no, yeah. And so, I mean,
hold up.
Married yet?
Yeah.
So, I mean. Yeah, before the ultimatum talk, I knew
it wasn't an ultimatum.
I love it.
People are gonna be like, "Damn, she got this guy on lock."
That's gonna be the title of this, the ultimatum talk. Just kidding.
No, I knew I wanted to marry her. Just like I said, we were just trying to figure out our goals and figure out where we wanted to be together and go from there.
What made you decide you wanted to marry me?
I don't know, just everything you did. Just like waking up next to her and she wants to snuggle before we go to bed every night. And, you know, even if we're just sitting on the couch, she's working on her laptop and I'm just looking at my phone. She always wants to be right next to me and stuff. And I don't know, I think it's cute and cool.
So now anytime we get into Tiff, I'm going to play this episode.
Yes.
He has to hear all the things he loves about me.
Yeah.
Or to calm you down.
Yeah. True.
We used to write each other notes in high school and stuff, and they're hanging in our room. He's like, anytime you're mad at me, you go read those notes. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Tanner,
you take your own advice.
Shut up, Lori.
Yep.
No, when we were in high school, Tanner's phone got taken away. I think it was like bad grades or something, wasn't it? I don't know. So Tanner got his phone taken away, and we lived like 2 neighborhoods apart. We really didn't live that far away. But on his way to school every morning, he would leave a letter in my mailbox. And then I would write him one back, and he would pick it up on his way home. And so now those letters are framed, and they're aren't we like the cheesiest people you've ever met?
That.
Like
it's like old timey love that you never hear anymore because all the like teenagers are sexting and stuff like that, you know. Oh.
So yeah, those are hanging in our bedroom so that every time one of us is mad, I'm like, remember all the things you love about me.
That or bring her pizza and she's good to go.
Yeah, we're bringing pizza.
Do you have this obsession with pizza like she does?
No, I hate it. I can't.
No, you don't.
I think I've made him like sick
just
of
every
pizza.
time. She's like, "Can we get pizza?" I'm like, "Can we please get something else?" Like,
we please
something. Yeah.
I'll always be the first to suggest pizza. I'm always down for pizza.
Oh, yeah. No, not so much. Okay, so I'm gonna put you on the spot, Tanner. You ready for this?
Go for it.
Okay. So, what qualities about Cinthanie do you love that no one else has? Like, what makes her the one for you?
Yeah, lots of stuff. I mean, she's got real good drive. It's hard to get her going, but she's got really good drive when she really puts her mind to something. She's real honest, which I like because I'm the exact opposite. I'd rather not tell somebody, you know.
He's a non-confrontation guy, and I am confrontation.
Yeah, yes. And she's hot-headed, which I love. I mean, super girly girl too. I try to get her to do some of the guy stuff that I do. I'm trying to get her to ride dirt bike was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh hell, that's awesome.
So like, okay, I mean, she's my exact opposite, and that's why I love her. I mean, she's the exact opposite of what I am. That's what I was about to say. Like, I mean, that's very evident. And
yeah, we're literally everything that the other isn't. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we balance each other out though. Like he's like such like a calm, cool, collected, like, and I'm like in your face, like,
I mean, yeah, like you might as well be a redhead.
Like, yeah. So we balance each other out.
Yeah, I remember when we were in Seattle one time, I had a friend come over from work, and he's just, you know, real smart aleck and stuff. We make jokes and stuff. I opened my fridge and I had a bunch of Tostino's pizza rolls and stuff like that. And he's like, "Dang, Tanner, you're fat." And she flipped out in the middle of nowhere.
You do not come into my house and talk to him like that. Like, I was so angry. I'm like, you don't talk to him like that. All his friends are probably like, dude, your girl is like low-key psycho. But I'm like, nobody can talk to him but me like that. Like,
not me.
And I love that you made it a point that it was Tostino's pizza rolls. I forgot. Like, we lived such a different lifestyle when we lived in Seattle, like totally different,
right?
So different,
right?
Yeah.
But
like,
I forgot about that. That's right.
Okay, so same question for you, Cinthanie. What makes him unique, and why you want to spend the rest of your life with him and only him?
It's just funny because anytime I do go somewhere and like I am around like guys my age and stuff like that, like I'm just so thankful. Like, it just always, like, I just sit there and I'm just like, I am so thankful for what I have to go home to. Like, seriously, because there's just, you don't find a Tanner. Like, I always tell people that. And people always tell me that. Like, anybody that meets Tanner has always pulled me aside and been like, you need to hold on to him.
Don't let go of him.
Don't mess it up. Like, do not mess that up. Like, everybody in high school, when we first were dating, like, people were like, he's something special and you need to make sure you hold on to that. So I love that he is protective in his own way, that like he definitely lets me do my thing and lets me shine and stuff like that. But like he'll always be in my corner. Like he's always there to like back me up and protect me. And also to give me like the tough love that I need. Like he can speak reason into me like nobody else can. Like if anybody else were to tell me what he tells me, I'd probably like punch them in the face.
Right.
Violence is not the answer, children. Yep. But I'm saying like, because I'm such a confrontational person, like I want to get it out, I want to get it over with and done, and like he's the only person that can speak reason into me the way that he does. And he's just like I said, you don't find a Tanner. He's such a gentle-hearted person. Like he always sees the good in everybody, and like his heart is so big that like the other day he was coming home late from work. I'm like, why are you so late? And he's like, well, I was leaving and there was one other guy still there and he was doing all this stuff by himself and I felt bad. So Tanner like went and clocked back in and helped him. So like,
of course,
just the fact that like he do you hear Phoebe barking?
I do. Phoebe's like,
She's like,
I need attention from one of you.
Yeah. No, but he has this heart that's just like, I've never met somebody who just genuinely loves people and just loves, like, he loves you for who you are. He's so like supportive to everybody. Like, he's just so sweet to people. And I feel like that's not a quality that a lot of people have, So like, he's everything that I'm not. And like he said, he's like a total snuggle bug. Like, I have to like probably embarrass you to say that, but like
No.
I love to, like, at the end of the day, like, just wrap up and like be next to you. And he's not like, that's too much. Like, like he's down with it. So
yeah.
And we have fun together. Like, we have a really stupid sense of humor that I feel like nobody else would understand, like, my humor but him. Like,
right.
If we were to have people like watch the things that we laugh about, they wouldn't get it. Like, nobody else would get it except for him.
The next reality show that we should wait for? I don't think he would survive the reality show world.
Right?
No, but for the listeners that are listening for the first time, they don't realize. So your soon-to-be mother-in-law, so obviously Tanner, your mom, is my mentor. We interviewed her on episode 9 or 10 of the podcast, and it's one of the most downloaded podcasts. Melissa McAllister, and everything that you're saying about Tanner, like, this is the most that I've gotten to talk to Tanner, obviously, but you're definitely. Both I love and respect both of your parents, but I mean, you definitely have all those qualities are straight from your mama.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, like,
he's his mom. Like, he has his dad's humor and his mom's heart.
Right.
And like, they're the best quality. Like, so if you get along with Tanner's parents, you get along with Tanner because he's just like a product of both of their best qualities. Like,
yes.
Great.
Okay, so advice to the young people that are in young love and they think, okay, I've found my soulmate, the person that I'm going to be with the rest of my life, but the world is telling you you're too young. You don't know what love is. Your 20s are when you grow up and change. You shouldn't even think about marriage. What advice do you have to those?
Yeah, I mean, we got a whole like thing on people that meet online and stuff like that, with Tinder and whatever. We have friends that say, "I met my soul."
I've never done it. Like, I never had to date on Tinder, so I don't know. Like, I can't judge you for how you meet people.
Right.
We have so many friends like, "I met my soulmate." Like, "Oh, how long have you been dating?" 2 weeks. It's like, oh. Okay. Yeah, it's like,
all right.
I mean, yeah, if I can give you any advice to young love and stuff, it's to do what those two do best. As bad as it sounds, ignore what your parents say, but really listen to yourself and go after your goals. And if you think both you guys really think you're meant to be together, then go for it. Do everything you possibly can to make that goal work. Share each other's goals, be each other's inspirations, and just really push. I think that's the best advice I can give. I mean, just as funny as it sounds, if you two are soulmates and everything, nothing else matters. I mean, just go for it and do the best you can.
And you have to be, and the thing is like I said earlier, being soulmates isn't enough. Like, that sounds negative, but you have to put work into the relationship. Like I said, you have to nurture it. Like, there was a point where we were like, weren't even sure we were supposed to be together, but we worked through it, and like, thank God we did. I think that something else that I could add to that is that don't let social media give you a facade. I think that a lot of people love to, like, when they're with someone they're excited about, they just want to put it all over social media and like share that and stuff like that. And that's great. But like, what you see on social media isn't always what you see in your relationship, And so like, you might be struggling in your relationship and you see everybody else's like perfect Instagram pictures and you're like, I'm going to go find somebody like that because he's not it's so easy, especially for people our generation, to have like a false sense of like what a good true relationship is. And so if anything, I feel like eliminating social media from your relationship, that might sound trivial, but I think that's huge. Yeah. I think that's one reason why we work so well, is because you're like not on social media at all. And I am, because I run my business on social media. I think if we both were, I don't think it would work. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I always told her too, because she always take pictures on our dates and stuff. So I'm like, save some of that stuff just for us, like that's the you and me experience.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no one else needs to know about it. No one else needs to know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we went to this waterfall or whatever. I'm like, let's just be in the moment and share it together. And so
right.
I think that's a big part too.
Like when we got engaged, nobody was around. There was no video. Like it wasn't in front of anybody. Like it was literally like in the corner of this park, and we had our dog with us, and that was it. Like everybody's like, "Do you have a video?" I'm like, "No." Like that's something like you'll see us get married.
It's in my brain.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. Like
right.
it's just something that was just for he and I, which I feel like for me. And I'm not.
And the podcast listeners, because I want to hear the story.
Well, yeah. Oh, you want to hear the story of how we got engaged?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I want to hear your version of it.
My version of it?
Yeah. Like, what was it like for you?
Oh, like as bad as it sounds, I wasn't super nervous.
Did you know
that didn't sound bad?
Yes?
Well, no. Well, I hope you say yes. I mean, you never know. You could be like, no, but for but I mean, yeah, it's just like Cinthanie said, I went and got the ring, and trying to keep it real hush hush. So that's why I told her, I'm like, hey, let's go to the park we used to go, and let's take Phoebe and we'll go walk around. So
Phoebe is our dog, by the way, for the listeners that don't know.
Yeah. They're ginormous dog.
Yeah, she's like 165 pounds. She's huge.
Yeah, so we were just walking around, and so I was trying to like look for like a quiet spot, because I don't want to do it in front of a bunch of people with about their phones and start shoving each other's faces and stuff. And I'm like, I want to be just me and her experience. So we walked around and stuff, and we were just talking. And I was like, you really, you still love me? And she's like, of course. And I'm like, till the end of forever. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, I told her, like, well, let's go get married. She's like, really? I'm like, yep, right now. And I proposed right there.
Like drop to a knee.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you weren't expecting that at all?
No, because we had that ultimatum talk.
Right.
Like a week before that. So.
Dang it. No, it was the same week. Like I said, we had that conversation on Wednesday. Thursday was Thanksgiving. Friday, you got the ring. Saturday, you proposed to me.
And because I told her too, when we had that talk, I was like, oh, give me a little bit to, try and figure out what I can work as far as getting a ring and, venues and stuff like that, or really figuring it out. So I knew if I did it soon after that talk, it's when she would at least expect it.
Yeah. Like, so I was like, after we had that talk, I was like, okay, I feel good, but I was anticipating it like months from now,
Right.
And so we went to the park. I remember I was walking like a little bit ahead of you because you had Phoebe. And so I was walking a little bit ahead of you, and he was like, do you still love me? And I was like, yeah. Like I didn't turn around. Like we were walking, and I didn't turn around. I was like, yeah, like still loved you 5 minutes ago. Like it was just weird because I wasn't like looking at him.
What kind of stupid question is that? Hello.
And then he was like, well, do you still want to marry me? He was like, yeah. And he was like, what did you say? Like, how about right now or something? Like, what did you say?
No, let's start our journey together now or something like that.
Something. And like, I turned around because I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, I wasn't like taking him seriously because like, I don't know. Like I wasn't anticipating it.
No.
And so I turned around, and he was on his knee pulling the ring out of his pocket. And I started laughing because I didn't think he was being serious. Like I thought he was gonna I thought he was gonna tie his shoe or something. Like I thought he was just saying that because we had been talking about it.
You're kidding.
So, like, I started laughing, and then he pulled it out of his pocket, and I was like, oh wait, you're being serious. And then I just started bawling.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I remember his parents were out of town, and so like wasn't the first thing you did is you called your parents, right?
Yeah, I sent him a picture of the ring and everything like that.
Okay, how did you choose the ring? Because there's people of two camps. There's I want to just surprise her completely, and I'm gonna trust that I know my woman well enough to pick what she wants, versus I know my woman and she's gonna want to pick the ring. So
yeah, no, she's not very subtle at letting me know. She basically
I was gonna say, girl, you think this?
Like,
no way.
When we get married,
no, like I had showed him like what shape of ring I wanted. Like
yeah, we said it's like, if we ever get married, here's the ring that I would like, and I'm like, okay. So
was that during the ultimatum talk?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, y'all, stop.
So I got that image burnt in my head pretty quick. So
right.
I kind of knew exactly what I was looking for.
But he went by himself, like no input from anybody. Like he picked exactly like what he wanted to get me, and like it's perfect. So didn't your mom try to talk you out of it and get like a different ring or like a bigger one or something? Yeah,
me out of all things. She was like, hey,
no,
she'll like that and all this because it's a stone and it's got a bunch of little ones around it. She's like, women just want one single one, and I'm like, she'll like it. I'm like, I know,
I know
she'll
her.
dig it.
Yeah.
So. And my mom saw it in person. She's like, I'm so sorry.
Aw.
I'm like, don't. I'm like, she's just trying to give me advice.
Of
and I
course.
appreciate it. Yeah. So.
But like I said, like when he makes a decision, and like he's firm in it. And so he's like, no, like I know this is what I want to get. I know that she'll like this. Like this is what I'm gonna get. And so
Right.
the whole day, I remember like I was just like like staring at like
Right.
everywhere we went, like open the door like this.
Look what I got.
Hey. Yeah.
Well, and that's pretty cool to see her excitement. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up when you were laughing at the beginning. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, she's not taking this real serious. But
I didn't like.
You're like, this is not going the way I
I'm like,
anticipated.
abort mission. Yeah.
Right?
And everybody was like, he took you to the park that you went on your first date. Like you weren't anticipating it. I was like, no, like I was not, even though we had that talk and everything, like I was not anticipating it at all.
That's
it was
awesome.
not, yeah, it was by total surprise. So
Yeah.
you got me. Good
Yeah.
job, babe.
I was about to say, what other times has he been able to actually surprise you in your relationship?
He can't. I don't think you can because you get too
I'm just so
excited.
bad at
You
giving
get
it
too
away and stuff.
excited.
That's so cute. I love it.
Like I don't think he's ever given me a gift that's wrapped to open. It's like I just bought this. It's out of the bag. Here you go. Like he
Yeah.
can't, like, because he just gets so excited.
Right,
like,
of course.
It's cute.
That
so.
is cute.
Or
That
if
is
it's
cute.
like in the mail on its way, he's gonna tell me what it is. Like he won't let me wait. Like won't let me wait.
Aw.
It's like your Valentine's Day present. I was like, you'll never guess what it is. Never guess what it is. And it's like an hour after I bought it. She's like, don't tell me. I want it to be a surprise. I'm like, it's a Roomba. She was like,
It's a surprise now.
so bad at it. Yeah. I gotta-
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me ask both of you this. Do you, and if you have different answers, that's okay. There's no right answer, right or wrong answer. Do you feel like the other completes you, or do you feel like you're complete and y'all are a complete package when you come together?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think we're both pretty good at separate things. Like she is the kind of person that'll let the house get into a disaster before she finally cleans it up. She'll,
Like I don't like to
Yeah.
pick up. I like to deep clean, but I
Mhm.
don't like to pick up stuff. You know what I'm saying?
But
Like
Yes.
I like to scrub, mop, dust, like deep clean
Yes.
stuff.
Well,
But
I'm
he
the
likes
opposite. Yeah.
to pick up, but
If-
he will like never touch a mop.
yeah, if I'm cooking and I use a dish, I wash it and put it away right then and there. And
Right.
so I'm done cooking. It's like nothing happened. So
Oh, you just made like half the women fall in love with you
Yeah.
that's listening.
But so-
Where can I find a man like that?
I'm gonna have to like fight women off of him
Right?
now because of
For
this
real.
episode.
But it's like whenever we're trying to, as stupid as it sounds, when we're trying to help each other with like chores and stuff like that, we always get flustered at each other and stuff because
Because
we're
we
like,
have
I'm gonna
totally
put my
different
stuff
ways
away, but then
to
her
do
stuff's
it.
all out and I'm
Yeah.
just losing it. And
And then if
stuff.
I'm like mopping and cleaning and he's like not, I'm like, why aren't you doing? Like we have such different ways of doing things,
Yes.
which is either functional or not functional. Also,
Right.
we have to like stay on the same page.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Where do you see yourself, because it's 2017 right now.
Mhm.
So
Oh wait, can I answer the complete question?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I think that like we're to have to, if for some reason we ended up not working out or something, like I know I could be okay without him, and I think that he could too. But it's the fact that we can stand on our own, but we still choose to be together. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like we could both be fine without each other, but we still choose to be together. So I think that we complete each other in a way that it's not like I can't live without you because I have to have you for these things that I
Dude.
can't do. It's
So
more like
healthy.
I can't live without you because I want to share this with you, not
Yes.
because I have to, because I have to have somebody. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I love that answer because I think that, especially, I don't know, are you guys too young to have ever watched Jerry Maguire?
Oh no, I love that movie.
Okay,
Oh,
so
you would.
yeah. so the two quotes that are most popular from that: "Show me the money" and "You complete me," right?
Yeah.
But the whole "you complete me," I believe, gives us this false notion that we need the opposite. Well, another person to be complete. And I feel like
Yeah.
that, especially in our society, we get so wrapped up on finding that other half of me
Mhm.
to make. And I think that's, I know personally, that's where I went wrong on my relationships
Yeah.
in my 20s.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I'm 37. And for the first time in my life, I realized like I'm in the process of 100% completing me on my own. And that way that will make me ready to meet another man that is complete on his own, so that we can enjoy life together. But I am my own person and he is his own person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't need him to survive. He doesn't need me to survive, but we make our lives so much better together.
Yeah. I think like a mistake that a lot of people make is that the person that they're with becomes their identity.
Yes.
Like they identify themselves with that person. Like they complete you as in they're the other half of you. Like my identity is my relationship. Like, and I don't think people realize, like I said, like you have to be okay with who you are and be able to, at least for me, I know that like I had to be okay with who I was and where I was going and have a direction before I would have ever been ready to have him. Because like if it had happened when I was in the stage of like I need someone as my identity to completely, like we wouldn't have worked out. Or it was, if it had been vice versa, like it wouldn't have worked. So we both are powerful in our own way in different things. Like he's very powerful in compassion and I'm very, very powerful in like making sure I'm heard, like getting my message, you know what I'm saying? Like, because he's not like a confrontation, like assertive type of person, not because he doesn't want to be, but because that's just not his way of communicating. And so I think that we both are powerful on our own in different ways, but we definitely are more powerful together.
Yes. You know? Yes. And I mean, I think you guys are a perfect example of not just opposites attract, but being opposites helps complete the energy of a couple, because you know, if you had another person like yourself, Cinthanie, I can only imagine.
Like it would be a nightmare. Like I would never want to marry me.
Yeah. Pizza everywhere.
There would be pizza everywhere. But the same thing for Tanner. If Tanner married somebody just like him, they would never communicate because he doesn't confront.
Right. And I mean, it's refreshing to see a young couple that is making this decision in life that I'm not secretly wanting to be like, oh, wait, just wait.
Yeah. Like I've never been so sure about a decision in my life. Like I'm not worried about like marrying him or like scared of that or anything. Like the only thing that I'm freaking out about is like making sure everything's done before our wedding. Like I'm not like the anticipation of marrying him. Like it doesn't freak me out. Like I'm not like getting cold feet or like, what if it's not, like, I know there's not a better person for me. Like I know that. So
Okay. So 10 years from now, 2027, where do you guys see yourself?
How old are we going to be?
Don't even say old, because I will cut you.
I'll be 33 and you'll be 32.
Yeah.
The day that sounded old to me.
I don't know if we'll have kids at that point. Maybe. I mean, we talk about it, but every time we talk, we're both real selfish with our time, as bad as it sounds.
Which works for us, though.
Yeah.
Like, we both have our time up. That's another thing is, like, I think it's important in a relationship to, not that we're relationship gurus, but what's worked for us is, like, he still has his friends and his guys to go do guy stuff with, and I still have my girls and girlfriends to go do girl stuff with. Like, we have friends outside of each other, which I think is really important. Because, like, kind of like when we were talking about in our friends episode, like, a husband is your best friend and like fills you in so many different ways, but sometimes you just have to have a best friend that's not your husband. Like it's not because he can't be there for you, but you have to have a girl, or you have to have guys to like go drink beer and ride dirt bikes.
Yeah,
like,
we have that.
It's not fun. I don't like beer. I don't like dirt bikes. Like,
right.
I'll watch you, but it's not something we can do together and like, you know.
Right.
So I think having separate interests has actually been really good for us, because we both have kept our interests. Like we haven't like just morphed into one person that loves everything all the same, you know, like we both definitely have our separate interests.
Yeah, we tried to get into each other's interests. She tried to teach me to play guitar and stuff. I'm like, no, I have no patience for that.
And then he tried to teach me to ride a dirt bike, and it did not go well. So.
Not so much. Not so much.
Not meant to be on two wheels.
But 32 and 32 and 33. What are we going to be doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
What you were saying about selfish with our time is because of kids.
Yeah, I mean, we're selfish with our time. So, like she said, I'm a real calculated person. I want everything to be, you know, real set in stone before we have a kid or before we move into our dream house and stuff like that. I want to be like, okay, is everything lined up, ready to go? Awesome, we can do it. But she's kind of more of the let's do it right now kind of person.
Right.
So,
I'm not going to say let's do it right now with kids anytime soon.
No.
Let me
Okay,
just
good.
put that out
Good.
there.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, but like even with going to school and stuff, I'm talking about my work and stuff. I'm like, there's good opportunities in California and stuff. She's like, let's move there tomorrow.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yes, Southern
Well,
California.
because Lauren's in California,
Yeah.
and we want a podcast studio in
Yeah,
California.
for
so-
real though, for real.
she's always,
I got my goals too.
she's real on the gun about stuff. So I mean, yeah, I mean, where we will be in 10
We're gonna
years,
be
I don't know. Yeah.
Done with school.
Yeah, we're done with school, but I'm hoping that we'll both of our businesses will be real established, and
Yes.
we'll be real professionals at it, and I'm sure she wants to be world renowned as well and everything like that. And so, I mean, that's kind of our main focus right now is just to be real set in stone by, even 5 years from now.
2 years from now.
2 years from now.
This time next year. I mean,
yeah.
we have goals that we're that's the thing is we're both very much so in hustle mode right now. Like
Yeah.
we're in the thick of like putting in our 10,000 hours for our careers,
Yeah.
like because he will finish school and then go right back into school. Like he
Right.
graduates in April and then goes to school in May. Like, so we're definitely in the hustle mode. So I'm really excited
Every
to see
day
that.
I'm hustling.
girl.
hustling.
I'm excited to see that come to fruition for us, you know, and like it'll just be interesting with the family. We like go back and forth about having kids because I think that we both are definitely not ready for them right now. But I think both of our moms are not going to let us not have kids.
I was about to say it would be a shame if you two didn't procreate. I'm just saying.
So yeah,
the
our
world
kids are going to be
the world needs good little human beings that are raised by good big human beings like you two. I mean, truly.
They're going to be like nothing but butts and foreheads though between the two of us because we both have huge butts and huge foreheads.
Stop that.
Bonking and stuff constantly.
Maybe like little troll kids. Gosh, one night I like rolled over in bed and he did it at the same time and almost knocked me out with his forehead. Like he's got a really strong, like prominent forehead. And like I saw stars. Like I woke up and saw stars. And awesome. He like just rolled back over and was like dead asleep. I was like, how did that not hurt you? Like,
he's a dude.
So
Typical
I always
dude.
joke about the fact that our kids are going to be like just butts and foreheads. That's
yeah.
And real hairy.
And really hairy.
And, yeah.
Because he's German and I'm Italian. So
oh
we're
yeah.
going to have hairy kids. Like
but not for a long
kids.
time. Not for a long time. Y'all
But
still got a lot to do on your own before
and I
little
think
ones
10
come.
years from now, like I don't know, like we both have such a really intense vision of what we plan for ourselves for even like the next 5 years. And of course, nothing always goes exactly how you plan.
Of course.
But I also know that like we're very much so in control of the decisions that we make and like what we do to ensure that our plans follow through, And I think that we both are very, very focused on that. And we both get that. Like he's gone 15 hours a day right now and like it sucks, but I get where he's going with it. Like I get his vision. And so like it's not like I'm like, come home, like I wish you were here. Like no, like you but you do you, boo. Like I know what you're working towards, like so we're both definitely much so in hustle mode. So I think that it'll be really interesting to see like that coming to fruition.
Yeah, I think it's hard for us to think about 10 years from now too, because we always think about 2 years from now, where we're gonna be.
Like our goals are a little bit like
we try and like
we want to work on them a little bit quicker than that.
Yeah.
Well, we both know if we give each other that long amount of time, we'll just procrastinate.
It'll take 12 years instead of 10. But if we work for it in 2 years, it'll take 3. Like
I think it's important to have short-term, midterm, and long-term goals.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
But I mean, definitely the age that you're both at. It's proportionate to you've only been on this earth for 22, 23 years. And so the idea of 10 years down the road, but before you know it, you're going to be there and you're going to be like, okay, wow. That's, but having those visions and those goals together of, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10-year goals. I think that helps you grow together because I mean, your 20s, you're going to be growing up a lot and figuring out parts of you that you didn't know that you needed to figure out yet. And I think doing that together is one of the biggest challenges, but I definitely think it's done as long as both parties are on the same page and communication is always opened.
Yeah, for sure.
So one more question for you, Tanner, before we wrap this up. What do you think about Cinthanie doing this whole podcasting thing?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, she's been saying forever she always wanted to get her voice out, kind of share her ideas and stuff like that. And I think it's awesome. When I didn't go to school and was here, I had to sit outside for 4 hours because she's like, "Don't come in the house, don't make a noise." And I'm like, "Okay." So that was
This
a little
before I
crazy at
improved my
first,
audio
yeah.
quality.
Yes.
So my mic picked up everything.
Everything.
But yeah.
I swear to drop a wrench out there, and I just feel her eyes glare in the back of my head out of there.
I love it. I love it.
So at first I was like, okay, I gotta, really stay away. But yeah, I mean, she digs it, and I think she does real good at it. Yeah,
Have you listened to any of the podcasts?
Yes,
Be honest.
I really try.
Yes.
Yeah, at work.
An episode.
Well, hey, it's a start. I try, and so I stream it at work, on my computer at the desk and stuff, and so I get made fun of the guys. Like, why are you listening to girls talking on podcasts? And I'm like, hey, get quiet. But
that's my boo.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I dig it, and yeah, I like it.
And I'm a chatterbox, so it's
Yeah.
a good outlet, right?
It's nice to hear your voice at work and stuff too.
Oh,
so.
that's so
Well, and
cute.
also, I feel like you, not that you're getting to know a side of her that you don't know, but you definitely, I mean, when you hear a person, and that's why I wanted the audience to have this episode to hear, because as this podcast grows, we develop relationships with the people that are listeners, and they get to, just like when I met Sean Stevenson yesterday I've been listening to his podcast for about 3 years, at least 3 years. And I felt like I already knew him when I met him, and hearing him talk at the thing and then getting to meet him afterwards, like I already knew him, because you get to, when you hear people not just talk about a topic, but hear their ideas, their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions about it, you really get to know a person. And also I feel like your mate should be your number one fan and number one supporter. And I definitely, especially females, it's so challenging, because when a female's successful, I see one of two things happen when they're in a relationship with a man. The man feels threatened by the female's success and it hurts their relationship, or the male is the biggest cheerleader for his woman as she progresses in her success. And I obviously I love the fact that it's the second option, because I see too many times when a female finally gets her feet and underneath her, and she starts to grow confidence and she starts to become her own, the insecurities of the male come out, and obviously you have your securities, so I just love it. I'm trying to give you a compliment, essentially, but that's it's refreshing, because and I know that you don't know anything, but I went through a divorce, and that was one thing that as I became more successful, my ex-husband became literally my not number one nemesis, but definitely was not my number one fan, for sure. And I felt like everyone else in my life was supporting me except for the person that was supposed to be supporting me the most. And that's just anything. And you're going to go through different phases in life. Never did I think that in my 30s I wouldn't be practicing medicine, because all of my 20s was dedicated to schooling to practice medicine for what I thought the rest of my life. But having someone to support you on all these different phases of life, it's refreshing, because you guys are pretty awesome young couple, and I look forward to seeing you guys grow together as a couple, and I'm excited about the wedding. I think this episode drops the Monday before you guys get married. So Friday you are taking time to do Fitz Friday Q&A live from Dallas. I'm going to make sure that my flight gets there in time. That's the one thing I'm concerned about. I'm going to make, even if I have to leave on Thursday, I'm going to make it happen so that we can do Fitz Friday Q&A live together.
Do a wedding special.
So as we leave, wrap the episode up, any words of wisdom for the listeners that you want to leave them on?
Yeah, especially for all the young kids out there, I always tell Cinthanie, do what you want to do in life, whatever makes you happiest, whether it's underwater basket weaving or
Or sea turtle watching.
Sea turtle hunting, or
Yeah.
designing houses or whatever, and just pursue it. Go 110% at it. Don't give up. You're going to get knocked down 100 times before you get, one opportunity. So just stick to it. I tell her too, I'm like, don't worry about, money or anything like that. Do whatever you do, and the finance will come, and, just really stick to it and do what you so desire. Life's too short to say, I always want to do that, but there's not.
But I'm going to keep cleaning teeth the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly. So,
not that there's anything wrong with that, but
no, just wasn't for me.
It just wasn't for you. Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the advice I can give to people, I think.
Cool. Cinthanie, any last words of wisdom?
I think that it's okay to be powerful in a relationship, not to the point where you're dominant, but I think that there's enough room for both of us to be successful. Like, we both have enough room for us to support each other and also still keep our visions. And so I think it's like, what your goals are and stuff in life, you need to find somebody that complements those. Like, don't compromise your passion for a relationship, because it'll, like, eventually that will manifest itself, in the relationship. Like, something's got to give. It's either going to be your passions or your relationship. So I think it's really important to find somebody that understands you and lets you do you. So it's okay to be powerful. It's okay for both of you to be powerful. There's plenty of room for both of you to have your successes. So you need to find somebody that you can identify that with and knows that they're going to be in your corner. Like, that Absolutely. They understand that it's going to be nitty and gritty, and it's going to be scary. And sometimes it brings out the absolute worst in you, but that they're going to be in your corner.
Well, I want to take this time to acknowledge both of you. You're both just such stellar young human beings. And I only wish that I could have had my head screwed on as half as good as you guys at that age. But I look forward to watching you guys just blossom in this next stage. I cannot wait for the wedding. And Tanner, thank you for taking the time out on your weekend, because I know that you're in the midst of busy school, and so your free time is super valuable. And thank you for sharing your wife with the podcast, because her voice is definitely much appreciated on this podcast. And it's part of my passion is reaching young people, because I think that in the day and age that we have so few really good role models to look up to. There's a bunch of fake social media icons that that are just leading our young people astray. And the millennials, I haven't lost hope in you guys, and you two are part of the reason why I haven't lost hope in the millennials. So thank you guys so much. And Cinthanie, you have a message for our listeners, right?
I do. You are a good person, and you deserve good things to happen to you.
And you deserve a person that loves you unconditionally for you and only you. Amen. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We will see you guys later. Ciao. Bye. Make sure that you find us on social media. You can find Cinthanie on Instagram and Facebook at Cinthanie. So that's CINTHANIE, and on Snapchat at Cinthanie P. And find me on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Club Fitz Fitness. Remember, that's FITZ Fitness. And on Snapchat, just at Club Fitz. I appreciate your time listening so much. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fitz and Healthy podcast, can you please go do me a favor and go subscribe at whatever platform that it is that you listen to podcasts. Leave a review. We read every single review, and we appreciate the time that you take to leave your thoughts and opinions. Now, also remember, while I am a medical doctor, the information I provide here is not intended to provide medical advice or a professional diagnosis, opinion, treatment, or services to you or to any other individual. I am providing general information for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for medical or professional care. You should not use this information in place of a visit, call, consultation, or the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. The information I share is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or medical condition. If you believe you have a medical emergency, just call 911 immediately or your physician. Now, enough of that medical legal jargon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate your time. Now go live a Fitz and Healthy life.